He broke up with me in public just because my academic performance didn't match the university my girlfriend attended. But I didn't care at all. The spiritual energy revival would begin in a year, bringing with it various mutated beasts wreaking havoc on the city. Money and education wouldn't matter. Only becoming a powerful cultivator was the true path. Last night, I awakened the spiritual object automatic writing system, which could automatically write top-tier cultivation techniques based on the spiritual objects it touched. I would exclusively enjoy all the anomalies caused by the spiritual energy this year, opening a path to martial arts divinity. Just then, a trending news item on my phone caught my attention. The ultraviolet radiation at Qingcheng University had reached its highest level in nearly a century, with the temperature at the North Gate reaching a staggering 74 degrees Celsius. Many people wouldn't care about the initial stages of this world's anomalies, but only I knew clearly that my first opportunity had arrived. Soon after, I arrived at the North Gate of Qingcheng University. It was indeed unbearably hot, feeling like I was in a giant furnace. I wiped the sweat from my face and noticed the sunlight shining on the ground, forming dazzling golden spots. Curious, I reached out to touch my fingertips and instantly felt a sharp pain. The system notification indicated a violent fluctuation in Yang attribute. Unlocking the Yang attribute data template was initiating, and intermediate computing power was being used for programming. In an instant, golden light, like countless golden threads, frantically wrapped around me. The dazzling sunlight was even more blinding than the blazing sun in the sky. People around me quickly shielded their eyes. What was happening? Had a Super Saiyan appeared? The dazzling sunlight poured down on me like a waterfall. I felt like I was about to die. Finally, the system programming was successful, and I obtained the Yang attribute cultivation technique, Golden Yang breathing technique. Meanwhile, at the south gate of Qingcheng University, freshmen were arriving to register. Several senior students had their eyes on the most attractive girl in the crowd, Chu Qingli. Some offered to help with her luggage, others offered to guide her, but Chu Qingli refused them all. When her gaze fell on the affectionate couple beside her, she muttered to herself, "They just broke up today, and I already see love-struck fools." A sudden, deafening roar echoed behind me. The school's public address system issued an urgent high-temperature warning, urging students to stay away from the North Gate. Supernatural phenomena had been frequently observed near the gate recently, and I had to investigate. Outside the North Gate, I slowly opened my eyes, my dark pupils blazing with fiery light. I checked the golden sun breathing technique. Gazing at the blazing sun, inhaling and exhaling intense heat, this technique could be used for body tempering, granting 50 points. I didn't understand what those points meant. Anyway, it was useful. I began practicing the golden sun breathing technique. Unexpectedly, with each breath, the world shifted between light and darkness, daylight and night alternating. I had reached the North Gate and heard many students saying that the sky had suddenly become cooler. Suddenly, the principal's stern voice rang out. "What are you all doing here? Didn't we send a text message forbidding you from coming? If you don't leave, you'll all lose points." A group of people in military uniforms followed behind the principal, and the students scattered. The woman in the long robe was named Su Qingying. She ordered her subordinates to re-establish the cordon and completely seal off the North Gate area. At this moment, I was still enveloped in thick smoke. The system notification indicated that this was a contaminated area, with spiritual energy reviving from an anomaly point officially marked by the Xia Kingdom, the level of danger uncertain. It seemed there were other cultivators besides me. The sudden alarm caught my attention. A group of military personnel were sealing off the area. Realizing I had made too much noise and attracted attention, I frantically ran towards home. Su Qingying arrived at the explosion's epicenter, scraped some soil from the ground, smelled it, and looked surprised. It was man-made. Had someone else come into contact with the spiritual energy beforehand? Chu Qingli, among the crowd, overheard this. He couldn't believe such a terrifying phenomenon was man-made. But was that fleeing figure Fang Yi? The next second, he shook his head inwardly. Don't be silly. Yi Fang Yi's mediocre results couldn't possibly appear in Qingcheng. Soon after, I returned home, but I was troubled by the heat within my body. Why wouldn't it dissipate? Neither a cold shower nor air conditioning could alleviate the discomfort. I suddenly remembered the commotion I'd caused today. Wouldn't someone have seen it? But while checking the news, I was drawn to a trending topic. Spiritual Qi Cultivation Association updates realm chart. I recognized this online association. It periodically released cultivation rules, but everyone assumed it was just a joke. However, the people I saw this morning might be from the association, considering the recent strange noises. I instinctively clicked on the post to check the cultivator's realm details. The lowest was the first level of Ghost Axe, and the highest was Pure. Although the content was cryptic, the familiar layout and watermark indicated it was an official announcement from the Xia Kingdom. I'd never heard of this association before. Could this association be a signal from the government to those who had prematurely come into contact with spiritual energy? If so, I'd try circulating the golden sun breathing technique again. Feeling the surge of heat, I immersed my mind in it, and under the guidance of the golden sun breathing technique, the spiritual energy within my body became fierce and powerful. The beginning of cultivation involves tempering the physical body into a weapon, using the limbs to contain the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, then controlling the spiritual energy and training the divine palace. Soon I could feel the spiritual energy twisting and gathering in my mind, gradually condensing into shape. My body suddenly felt as if it had broken free of its shackles, and a projection of a priest flowing with magma slowly materialized. At the same time, the system sent a notification that I could use writing points to forcibly implant the acquired attributes into anything. Data can be forcibly implanted into anything. I pondered for a moment, then aimed at the mug on the table and tried to implant it. The glass instantly flashed with golden light, and the system panel prompted me to consume writing points to implant Zhang Yang's attribute into the object. A smile crept onto my face. It seemed I had guessed correctly. Forcible implantation is essentially enchanting an object, granting it extraordinary abilities. If I implanted it into a sword or other weapon, wouldn't I have my own exclusive weapon, instantly boosting my combat power? And I wouldn't just be able to collect one attribute. Thinking this, I prepared to experiment with the prop sword in front of me. Unexpectedly, it could also be implanted. I immediately ordered one online, a real Tang sword. After doing all this, I closed my eyes to go to sleep, but was awakened by a very strange buzzing sound, sounding like a mouse. Could it be someone else's pet? Because I had just stepped into the Ghost Axe mirror realm, surpassing ordinary people, I could hear sounds from the surrounding houses. When I pushed open the door to check, I found a mutated giant rabbit in the corridor. It was entirely black, with crimson eyes flashing with ferocity. What looked terrifying, yet standing on the rooftop of a building outside, was the figure of a beautiful girl with twin ponytails. It was Su Qingying from the Spiritual Qi Cultivation Association. He had been tracking the rabbit that had devoured the Dark Night fruit, but still hadn't caught it. He had just finished reporting to headquarters when he suddenly leaped off the rooftop. He had sensed the mutated rabbit's Dark Night aura. Its target had already fled to a residential area 20 kilometers away. Su Qingying warned her teammates to be extremely careful, as the mutated rat would continue to evolve and become stronger after devouring the fruit. He darted between buildings. Someone happened to look up and saw him, thinking he was seeing things from working overtime. The boss immediately scolded, "Stop looking! Have you finished the comic?" Su Qingying, like a Sailor Moon, rushed towards her destination. At the same time, the mutated rabbit attacked me. The golden light flowing around me radiated a powerful divine force, easily dodging the attack. This was because, after my breakthrough, my body had undergone a tremendous change. I could not only see the mutated rabbit's slow-motion movements, but also react quickly. Although the mutated beast appeared too early, compared to the monsters seen in the anteroom, it wasn't fully evolved. The dark attribute would further amplify its power and ferocity. It had to be killed to prevent future trouble. I grabbed its weak point, its tail, and hurled it forcefully out the window. Then I jumped out myself, gathering pure, yang energy, and unleashed a thunderous punch. A bloody hole appeared in the mutated rabbit's chest, but it was absorbing my sheep attribute. Thus, unaware of the powerful and domineering force of the sun, it was simply courting death. With a deafening boom, the mutated rabbit was blasted into countless pieces. I landed gracefully and steadily, coldly watching the eyeball on the ground before precisely stomping on it. The mutated rabbit, despite being a dark attribute, was still so ferocious despite being countered by the yang attribute. It seemed truly hungry. 2.5 minutes later, Su Qingyin arrived at the scene. The sight before him made his pupils shrink. The person was dead, their body mangled into pieces as they crashed into him. Preparing to recover the remaining dark night attribute, he suddenly felt a scorching heat in his hand. This was actually extremely high and pure yang attribute. Just like the one at the north gate of Qingqing, this couldn't be a coincidence. He lightly activated his earpiece and quickly reported everything he had seen to headquarters. The association specialist was somewhat shocked. You mean the evolution and mutation at the north gate of Qingqing were done by the same person? And although this person's aura was only ghost acts, their respect was that of a very pure yang attribute specialist. After quickly checking the data, he was slightly excited. There was no trace of this person in the headquarters files. The association desperately needed to recruit such talent. Su Qingyin nodded. I think so too. Just as he absorbed the two attributes, instructions came through the earpiece. Your recent tasks are suspended. The primary task now is to search for the traces of the pioneer, make sure to record them, and ideally persuade him to join the Spiritual Qi Cultivation Association. I understand, but I want a cup of milk tea now. Su Qingyin's gaze fell once more on the vomiting creature. Just who was he? However, someone with such strength was definitely a master. I needed to fast too. Having slept well the next day, I got up early to begin a day of rest and experience the rising sun golden sun breathing technique. Since reaching the vicinity of the orbit when I circulated the breathing technique, I could feel the aura formed by the technique swirling around me like silk threads. The priest was about to break through again without me even realizing it. I tried to use my mental energy to sense the axe, and my hand was noticeably less powerful than yesterday when I caught it. Audience, as the saying goes, cultivation is like chopping wood. One day I will definitely be able to skillfully control this divine axe. I fully activated the golden sun breathing technique, cleaving the divine axe down with unstoppable force. With a deafening roar, I successfully advanced to the vicinity of the orbit, and my 2-star physical body became even stronger. However, the reason for such a rapid advancement was that I hadn't used up the residual energy accumulated during my breakthrough to 1 star. From now on, I needed to level up steadily. To avoid being discovered while cultivating, I decided to find a secluded place. In the association's office on the other side, the man was lost in thought. He detected energy fluctuations from the sun. Could it be him again? 10 minutes later, I arrived at a stream, consuming energy while writing some yang attribute power into my newly purchased Tang sword. In an instant, the sword was enveloped in golden light. Last time, I used a figurine as a weapon. Although the power transmission was successful, it couldn't withstand the power of the yang attribute. But this time, I felt it. This sword and the power within me were of the same origin, perfectly compatible. I casually swung it a few times. Wanting to test the sword's power, I was startled by what I saw. A point of golden light in the air domineeringly swept away all dust, and everything around was melted by the blazing flames. I quickly swung it towards the stream. That was close. I almost set the mountain on fire. Such a commotion would definitely attract attention. I had to make a run for it. Meanwhile, Su Qingying rushed towards the direction of the thick smoke. Damn it! I only went to buy milk tea and he got away again. I must be having a run of bad luck lately. Wait, what's with this hot spring boss? What did you do? How can I restore it to its original state? Thinking about this, Su Qingying felt incredibly wronged. She was going to get a severe scolding for not cleaning up the mess. Suddenly, her gaze was drawn to 2 beams of light from the back mountain. Her beautiful eyes narrowed sharply. No way! Only 1 night had passed. and it had already reached the second star of the Ghost Axe realm, and there was an extremely strong aura of loneliness mixed within it. The so-called spirit weapon is one infused with attributes, allowing an ordinary weapon to unleash extraordinary power. I suspect I'm also a pioneer in the spiritual energy revival. I frowned slightly. I'd forgotten to set my privacy settings. These three pioneers wanted to be friends, and I replied that I was a newbie too, but they were much less experienced than me. However, at least I knew that even the regulars were only a few inexperienced. Nearby, one of them sent an important message. They'd recently discovered a new polluted area and asked if I wanted to team up. I asked for the address, and he sent a compressed file containing information about Rongrong. The polluted area was originally caused by fissures in the Earth's crust. A dark river had developed there, but due to the changes in the world, the original water flow had turned into high-temperature magma, resulting in extremely high temperatures within the area. It seemed similar to my sheep-like nature. This trip would likely be quite fruitful. I immediately sent a message inviting them to team up. The next day in the ice tomb area, a group of pioneers stood before a stone door, surrounding a blonde girl. After exchanging pleasantries, the blonde, Zhang Xiaoya, was the creator of the compressed file and the first to find this underground magma. Furthermore, she had a hidden identity. He was an employee of the cultural department of the Spiritual Qi Cultivation Association. He noticed that none of these people were outstanding pioneers. Otherwise, he would have liked to help introduce them to the association, as few people knew about it. The Spiritual Qi Cultivation Association was an official department of the Xia Kingdom, and the entry threshold was very high. Zhang Xiaoya had even incurred many favors from her family to get in. Just then, I slowly emerged from the forest. "It's me, hello everyone." Zhang Xiaoya was stunned. So young, and already possessing strength approaching the second star of the Ghost Axe realm, with a strong aura. Yet, the feeling I gave off was very warm. Once everyone was present, they slowly pushed open the stone door. I walked at the front, letting Zhang Xiaoya and Xiao Lu in. It wasn't as hot as I had imagined, and the group occasionally chatted for a moment. In this group, I was a newcomer, but they treated me like one of their own, clearly wanting a reliable teammate to reach the lava during the special time. We stopped, and before they could even express their surprise, I quickly ran forward. Zhang Xiaoya shouted anxiously, "It's dangerous ahead! Don't act rashly." However, I had already crouched down and plunged my hand directly into the lava. The next second, the spot where I reached out suddenly exploded, instantly bursting into a raging fire. The system notification read, "Anomaly detected in the celestial phenomena. You have obtained the Crimson Fire Blade Technique template material. Its internal high temperature carries explosive properties, possessing astonishing destructive power. The Crimson Fire Blade Technique requires drawing the sword to reveal its true power. Each strike is accompanied by a roar of flames, the blade covered in a layer of fire, accompanied by fiery lightning, and the flames condensed at the tip of the blade will be ignited by the battle, releasing immense energy. Perfect. This Crimson Fire Blade belongs to my Tang sword. They complement each other. I consumed writing points to implant the rock attribute into the Tang sword. In an instant, millions of crimson rays surged into the Tang sword. My teammates, seeing I was unharmed, breathed a sigh of relief. With the writing completed, the spiritual energy here stabilized considerably. Everyone showed expressions of surprise. I felt a change in the spiritual energy. I could absorb it smoothly. Now, with just a little practice, I could officially embark on the path of cultivation. Xiaoya said she was just here to collect resources. It was expected. He would keep an eye on the surroundings for everyone. Soon after, other pioneers arrived at the cave. The one-eyed man, leading them, was arrogant. "Where did this trash come from? Get out of here." Xiaoya could tell that all three of them were skilled in the Ghost Axe technique, but being a near-star level opponent, she was outmatched and had no choice but to back down. "We found this place first. If you don't mind, you can absorb the spiritual energy together." The one-eyed man smiled contemptuously. "Little sister, are you nearing your destination? Get out of here, all of you, or don't blame us for being impolite." Now it's a time of rampant growth. 17-week pioneers don't deserve the resources to become stronger. The lower kingdom won't allow this situation to continue. Xiaoya, a member of the association, wanted to do something. At that moment, I stepped forward, angrily scolding the one-eyed man for bullying a girl despite his tall and strong appearance. As I spoke, I gripped the Crimson Fire Hall blade with one hand, slowly raised it, and gently plunged the tip into the ground. Flames spread across the ground along the blade, and a wave of scorching heat hit us. The one-eyed man's pupils constricted. Why does this blade look so strange? Brothers, retreat quickly. My teammates, who were cultivating, were awakened by the violent tremor. In my past life, too many cultivators who worshipped the survival of the fittest led to those irreparable tragedies. Therefore, mere persuasion and empty words wouldn't deter these bastards. I pulled out the blade, pointed it at the three of them, and roared. The one-eyed man broke out in a cold sweat. A second explosion. What kind of monster is this? My God! It's terrifying. The three fled in terror. My teammates, excited. Bro, that last strike was so cool. I smiled sheepishly. Oh, not at all, they went too far. I think everyone's training's almost done. We can leave now. Xiaoya agreed because the polluted area here had almost no spiritual energy left. Watching my retreating figure, she was certain that if that strike had actually landed, those three guys would be charred corpses. This handsome guy was definitely a high-level attribute prodigy, possessing top-tier talent. Not long after, Zhang Xiaoya dialed the Zero Association specialist's number. She explained the situation. The female specialist was surprised to see another high-level attribute prodigy, but it was already on her record. She told Zhang Xiaoya to notify her immediately if there was any progress. After hanging up, she smiled and said to the man beside her, "Teacher, our association really hit the jackpot." "What jackpot?" "Those high-level attribute big shots are not only of noble status and highly valued, but they'll also become high-ranking figures in the center of power in the future." The man sighed helplessly. "This is really difficult. I'm thinking of resigning." The next day, my attire attracted the attention of many passers-by. Who is that handsome guy cosplaying as? Where did he buy that prop knife? He looks so imposing carrying it. I didn't expect that I, disguised as a cosplayer, would become such a conspicuous bag. Then I checked today's headlines and was somewhat surprised. Due to the rock, it emitted a power of 2000 degrees Celsius. It would be strange if it didn't form an aura. And who revealed my characteristics? Never mind for now. I absorbed so much yang attribute spiritual energy today. I feel like I'm about to break through again. I'll go to the back mountain first. Another garden restoration expert on the back mountain. Su Qingying wiped the sweat from her face. Finally finished. She'd spent the whole day cleaning up that guy's mess. Suddenly, her pretty face changed. Such a domineering aura. The sunlight covered the entire back mountain, and a huge priest was visible in the sky. Su Qingying thought something was wrong. Someone was about to break through to the 3-star orbital level. In her mind, this level was beyond the realm of mere prodigy. Thinking of this, she couldn't wait to see, thinking, could it be that guy? I must catch you. At this moment, she was trying to swing that sword. A surge of spiritual energy erupted from the government compound, causing the Shun residents to tremble. Su Qingying was filled with envy. The ability to control spiritual energy so steadily suggested centuries of prior cultivation. I failed to break through to the near-orbit 3-star level before, repelled by the priest's pressure, coughing up blood and spending a week in bed recovering. I still don't want to think about it. This abundant spiritual energy, this precise control, every strand seemed to have been forged through countless trials. This person was practically a god. Many pioneers, those who feel a breakthrough, are eager for quick success, but this person is steady and methodical, with a mature and seasoned mindset like a reclusive master. Su Qingying was excited, looking at the sky. The divine axe had moved in the east. At this moment, I slowly opened my eyes, finally breaking through to the near-orbit 3-star level. Su Qingying was rushing towards this location, but upon reaching the light, she found it deserted. She was utterly disappointed. She had missed her horse again. Only 30 seconds had passed. It seemed he had discovered I was following her. What should I do now? Suddenly, his gaze was drawn to the light ahead. Senior, you've been hiding here in the ancient tree, not saying a word. So it was this girl who's been tracking me for days. Su Qingying sincerely explained, I'm the captain of the Shadow Squad, a branch of the Xia Kingdom's Spiritual Energy Association, and also a pioneer. I've been tracking your movements these past 2 days, hoping to invite you to join the official association. I hope you won't have a bad impression of it. Although the association hasn't been publicly announced, it's definitely legitimate. I responded calmly. Why did Su Qingying suddenly become so nervous? This kind of person isn't easy to fool. To be honest, pioneers are growing wildly these days. The association wants to find and integrate pioneers, giving them an extra layer of protection. I know joining the association will be a constraint for you, but ultimately we will face the spiritual energy revival together, facing unknown enemies. I said coldly, what if I don't want to? I can't completely trust you now. Su Qingying paused for a moment. Then she pulled out her work ID. My name is Su Qingying. Before the spiritual energy revival, I was an athlete. Believe me, I vaguely remember. Su Qingying was the long-distance running champion of Xia Kingdom. It seems those with better innate abilities are more likely to become pioneers. However, judging from the ending of my previous life, Xia Kingdom didn't achieve its goal. All of humanity was destroyed. Although I, with my reborn debt repayment system, am definitely going to be a part of it, the timing isn't right in reality. I casually indicated I needed to consider it. A voice jumped from the tree behind him, saying, but you must keep my whereabouts a secret from the association for now. Based on his behavior, the association wouldn't dare offend a pioneer like me now, making it convenient for me to use. Su Qingying promised to cooperate, but the association had already noticed his intention to upgrade his broken realm, so he could only report with a mix of truth and falsehood. I readily agreed. When he turned around to see my face clearly, he found I had already vanished. After a while, he angrily contacted the association specialist, but I hadn't caught him again. He's deliberately avoiding me. I still have to painstakingly deal with the traces left by this big shot. My life is truly miserable. The specialist soothed Su Qingying's emotions. All right, don't worry about that for now. Actually, it's a good thing you've been staying out on missions lately, because an anomaly has appeared. Su Qingying's pupils contracted sharply, her voice trembling slightly. They've appeared again? Those bizarre and brutal creatures, taking advantage of the resurgence of spiritual energy, have polluted the energy in the contaminated areas. Some have mutated into beasts that devour humans, while others have disguised themselves as spirits. They continue to kill, ultimately causing new contaminated areas to form. Humanity must eliminate them, or the world will be corrupted. Soon after, wind and rain raged, lightning flashed, and thunder roared. The authorities issued a red alert for thunderstorms and heavy rain, warning of severe flooding in the Jade Emperor Scenic Area, which was already closed. At that moment, I was already on my way to Jade Emperor Peak. The thunderous energy was so intense, and my gastritis was making me irritable. This was a new upheaval in the world, and the eye of the storm was just 2.5 minutes from the summit of Jade Emperor Peak. I arrived at the foot of the mountain. The system notification indicated that a contaminated area of high pollution level had been detected ahead, meaning the risk had increased. I hadn't taken more than a few steps when a thick bolt of lightning struck me. Meanwhile, the head of the Spiritual Energy Association headquarters summoned Su Qingying, who was on a mission elsewhere. Su Qingying had checked on the situation with the wasps and concluded that the summit was no longer safe. The lightning attribute's spiritual energy was exploding. In another hour, the contaminated area could even be classified as S-level, requiring immediate activation of the emergency plan. According to the existing data from the pioneers, no pioneer in our area was capable of approaching this region, including myself. Even a pioneer with the Ghost Axe skill at level 3 would face certain death if they entered. Upon hearing this, everyone's expressions turned grave. Major Han Li suggested sealing off the area from the foot of the mountain and deploying personnel for 24-hour patrols. The head of the association agreed that the contaminated area was bursting with spiritual energy, and no one was allowed to approach until the concentration decreased before conducting further investigation. At the same time, bolts of lightning struck. Golden light emanated from my body. Thankfully, I had the golden sun breathing technique with me, or I would have been dead long ago. But to extract the purest lightning attribute, I must reach the center of the lightning at the mountain peak. In the future, monsters even more terrifying than the strange beasts will appear. Cultivators are utterly helpless against them. Although I have mastered the golden sun breathing technique and the crimson flame blade, representing the yang and rock attributes respectively, my power is still far from sufficient. Previously, I used my cultivation points to implant both attributes into my Tang sword. The yang attribute increases the sword's defense and resilience. The crimson flame blade technique enhances its destructive power, but over-reliance on weapons will leave weaknesses. Only by becoming strong myself can I deal with those cruel and cunning creatures. The lightning power here is the perfect opportunity to further strengthen my physical body. To continuously grow stronger, I must seek opportunities amidst the changes in heaven and earth. Otherwise, I can only wait to die in natural disasters. When I swung my Tang sword at the falling lightning, I instantly felt an intense resistance that made me struggle. The closer I got to the center of the lightning, the greater the pressure became. This extreme lightning attribute, inherently a violent divine punishment, constantly pressured me, wanting me to grovel at its forbidden ground. I, in turn, expended all my energy. Using the golden sun breathing technique, I stood up under immense pressure, relentlessly blocking the onslaught of lightning. I had to hold on until I reached the summit, then face death to live. Finally, I reached the top. This domineering and dense lightning spiritual energy was so intense that even breathing made my muscles numb. It wanted me dead, but it absolutely wouldn't let me. As divine lightning crashed down upon me, the system detected that a powerful lightning attribute was being programmed. In another city, a group of ordinary people curiously observed their roommate, a high-level deity undergoing tribulation. Is this some kind of figure in the sky? They wondered. After successful programming, I gained the divine lightning refinement attribute, drawing upon heavenly lightning to temper my body, achieving godhood. Lightning itself is a powerful, high-level attribute primarily for offense, capable of tempering the body to deepen its lightning power, whether in attack or defense. It's all top-tier dominance. Lightning is both spear and shield. I deeply felt that the power of lightning wasn't simply destruction and annihilation, but rather baptism and rebirth. It honed and strengthened my muscles and meridians, yet the tempering process was painless, accompanied by an indescribable pleasure. The system prompted that this was pure lightning judgment power, punishing all evil, granting 300% critical damage. Should I consume programming points? I was considering whether to implant it into my Tang sword. Although implantation would make the sword more resilient, it might disrupt the purity of the yang attribute. If too many attributes are injected, even this Tang sword won't be able to withstand it. I suddenly remembered, why not implant it into my right hand? My right hand can also be used as an attack method. The system prompted me whether to forcibly implant the lightning attribute into this object. Without hesitation, I chose to do so. White lightning began to appear in my palm, and a tingling sensation spread through me. The next day, the Jade Emperor Peak was sealed, and Major Han led a team to investigate. Su Qingying discovered that things were different from what she expected. Within 3 hours, the concentration of spiritual energy had dropped from its peak to mild pollution. Han Li concluded that a pioneer had been here. Su Qingying quickly ran forward. I couldn't sense its attributes or the time of its departure. Han Li deduced that the person had left safely around 8 p.m. last night. Because the intentional start time was 6 p.m. last night, we reached the peak at 7 p.m., and he went up the mountain before the ceiling. Otherwise, we wouldn't have failed to notice that the strongest thunderstorm on the Jade Emperor Peak occurred at 7 p.m. You previously used association items to predict that the pollution concentration would reach S level in the early morning, but by 8 p.m., the concentration of the spiritual energy surge had decreased. Furthermore, this pioneer likely possesses lightning attribute abilities, which explains his ability to withstand these lightning strikes. Whether this person stumbled upon a stroke of good fortune or deliberately engaged with celestial phenomena, his actions were faster than ours. These types of people are the most terrifying because we don't know which side they're on. If they pose a threat to society, the disaster could be no less devastating than a sudden sneeze while I was at home. Han Li immediately ordered that this person be found as quickly as possible at all costs. The tentative codename is Tyrant. The man never expected this, just being struck by lightning, and yet, he gained the power to control lightning. Simply touching sunlight granted him the ability to control day and night. He even mastered the Crimson Fire Blade technique with the rock attribute after immersing his hand in molten lava. All of this was because he awakened the zero-material automatic technique writing system. In this era of spiritual revival and the rise of cultivators, everything in the world could become nourishment for its growth. It turned out that the moment he gained the power of lightning, he immediately returned home and released the golden sun breathing technique onto his rain-soaked clothes. Instantly, the water vapor evaporated, and the clothes dried. Even more surprising, his right hand had been strengthened with lightning attribute, becoming an indestructible part of his body. Not only did his strength surge, but he could even feel himself reaching a breakthrough bottleneck again. Most incredibly, this domineering lightning power, after merging into his body, became as docile as a kitten easily controlled. Recalling the painful torment of first unlocking the Yang attribute and practicing the golden sun breathing technique, compared to the ease and comfort of controlling lightning now, especially the Thunder Team's evil creatures, with their terrifying 300% critical damage, I'm brimming with confidence. One slap and I'm dead. I can't wait to test my skills. Meanwhile, the Jade Emperor's Summit Association is eager to recruit the pioneer codenamed Tyrant. Additionally, Su Qingying reports to Major Han about another high-level pioneer. After giving a composed report, he thinks he really did his best to cover it up for me. Keeping it completely a secret would have been disastrous. Major Han hears about Yang Yan's attributes. Thoughtfully, he praises Su Qingyun. Little Su, you did a good job. We need people like you. Su Qingying is relieved she managed to get away with it. At the same time, my phone pushes an emergency news alert. A chemical plant has exploded. Although the official report states there are no casualties, such a large-scale incident must have something fishy going on. Scrolling through the comments section, a comment about a cold, evil odor catches my attention. The description seems familiar. I suddenly remember my past life, the terrifying beings we encountered before. Those anomalies, mutated from plants and animals, possessing savage intelligence and power. They prefer darkness, and after mutation, their perception, capture, and instant kill abilities have increased to an unbelievable level. They are 100 times more dangerous than the previous mutated rabbits. We must act immediately to stop their evolution. A perfect opportunity to test the combat power of my 300% critical damage lightning strike. Meanwhile, in the dark night, with rain streaming down, the destroyer squad is tracking the anomaly codenamed Bamboo Leaf in the city. Current known information is, Bamboo Leaf can blend into the night, concealing its form. It emits a faint hissing sound when approached. It feeds on humans. The blonde-haired captain requested reinforcements from headquarters. The heavy rain is a sign of his weakness. Ordinary people are in imminent danger. We cannot allow this to happen. Headquarters quickly updated the files and upgraded the operation to a B-level priority, promising a resolution within 12 hours. They also informed you that Su Qingying, the captain of the Spiritual Qi Association squad in your area, is currently on an observation mission, and we can have him temporarily assist you. The blonde-haired captain didn't refuse, simply because he'd heard of Su Qingying's reputation. 2.5 minutes later, the two sides met up. Su Qingying, somewhat annoyed, put one hand on her hip, saying, "It's you guys who made me work overtime." The blonde-haired captain hurriedly explained, "This is a man-eating anomalies homepage, not about overtime." Seeing their unfriendly attitude, Su Qingying turned to leave. It seemed the destroyer squad was too strong. No assistance was needed. The Shadow Squad wouldn't keep her company. The blonde-haired captain immediately apologized. Without your help in locating it, the people of this small town would have been in trouble. Only then did Su Qingying agree to help him. She raised her hand and cast a tracking spell. The aura of her technique acted like a guiding light, quickly locking onto a large, thin, and twisted rat near a garbage dump. The blonde-haired captain immediately ordered the destroyer squad to move. Bamboo Leaf's blood-red eyes sensed danger approaching, and it ran wildly down the street. The squad realized they'd been spotted, spread out, and locked down the 4 directions from which Bamboo Leaf could escape, instantly poisoning it to death. The blonde-haired captain, descending from the sky, a sword-like finger gesture, a blade of spiritual energy, left a deep gash on the Bamboo Leaf's back, utterly enraging it. Candle Knight roared furiously, sprouting a pair of enormous wings. Su Qingying hurriedly warned everyone to dodge the sonic attack. The metal trash can was instantly sliced into pieces. Fortunately, the team had retreated over 100 meters away, otherwise their bones would be broken. The blonde-haired captain's expression was grave. If the Bamboo Leaf's destructive power and dark attribute were to wreak havoc in the city, the consequences would be unimaginable. Worse still, the Bamboo Leaf seemed to be holding something in its mouth. The next second, a strange green mist spewed from it, instantly corroding a large section of the nearest asphalt road. Su Qingying shouted anxiously, "The Bamboo Leaf is trying to burrow underground to escape." The green-haired teammate reminded them, "This is corrosive dark attribute. We don't have the ultimate high-level attribute counter." Su Qingying believed that even so, they couldn't let the Bamboo Leaf escape. Just then, a crimson eye flashed within the mist. Bamboo leaves flew through the air, and the team members guarding the weakest point fled towards the gap. The blonde-haired captain and his men followed closely behind. When they reached an abandoned factory, Su Qingying noticed something unusual below. The concentration had suddenly increased. He told 2 teammates to stay outside while he followed the sabotage team into the factory to test the spiritual energy concentration. He raised his wrist, revealing a special wristwatch newly developed by the association. Normally, an ordinary team could handle an anomaly concentration threshold of 50, but Bamboo Leaf's anomaly concentration was 48. However, the current threshold had exceeded 80 and was still rising rapidly, meaning there was more than one anomaly here. Unbeknownst to them, a giant dark attribute serpent silently appeared behind them. With a sweep of its tail, the factory gate slammed shut. Su Qingying realized they had been tricked. Bamboo Leaves had deliberately lured them in. The only way to escape was towards the gate. If they tried to stop it, it would reveal itself. The team planned to work together to reopen the gate, but the next second, the giant serpent attacked Su Qingying. A sudden lash of the snake's tail sent him flying, and the surrounding dark attribute poison gas instantly corroded his senses and body. "Are you all right?" she weakly cried out, but no one answered. It seemed the poison gas had numbed everyone's senses. Su Qingying suddenly realized that the team had been poisoned since the moment they entered the factory. Now the poison was frantically consuming their spiritual energy. Using spiritual energy to attack would only accelerate their depletion. Su Qingying's spiritual energy was almost exhausted. Without its protection, she would soon become a corpse. He collapsed to the ground with a thud, filled with resentment. These anomalies, with their extraordinary intelligence and heaven-defying abilities, were they really going to end like this? Just as his consciousness began to fade, a beam of light shone down from the factory roof. Su Qingying fell unconscious, and my dashing figure leaped down from the hole, blocking the giant snake. This giant snake was actually a dark attribute anomaly. It roared and lunged with its blood-red maw, trying to devour me. I nimbly flipped away to dodge its attack, but out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of Zhu Yi launching a sneak attack. It bit my arm. I hadn't expected 2 anomalies to be hiding here. They were responsible for luring and reaping, a clear division of labor, and quite intelligent. No wonder the spiritual energy here was so dense. Since this giant rat liked to bite, I'd let it taste the power of lightning. The moment I touched the bamboo leaf, lightning erupted like a bolt of lightning. A flash of light, and the bamboo leaf shattered into fragments, falling to the ground. I pointed my blade at the poised giant snake. Now it's your turn. I wonder if you'll like it.